the Hayes High School science labs, now when it came before the bond committee had looked at a cost of $13 million to improve the Hayes High School science labs. And during the public hearings, that cost went up to $21 million.
Yes, sir.
So, well, $20,980,000, so I'm just rounding up. So why the increase in cost?
So we got in there, we had 3 options, and then we got in with the campus staff and principal and science gurus, and we developed the plan, the option that they thought most advantageous. And by the time we shook it all out, that's where it landed. The other item that was added in order to actually make the construction work, it's a 2-summer project. And in order to make that work, we'll also have to bring in portable buildings to sort of bridge that time. In other words, we'll have to pull students out of a space to renovate it, and there's not enough other space to put them in, so we'll have to add some temporary space to put some of the students. So there's a whole portable building scenario that has to be put together, and we'll break that down, how many portables that is and what would go in those portables for Tuesday night.
You know, that's excellent. Because I think one of the things that kind of stood out to me is, you know, at almost $21 million, comparing that to a new elementary school, which is like $35.5 million. I mean, that proportionally, it's really, it seems to be rather high.
Right.
So I'm just hoping to get more information so I could kind of understand, you know, why the science labs are going up to that particular price.
Absolutely. Probably the cheapest square footage we build is a classroom, and probably the most expensive square footage we build would be a kitchen or a restroom or a science lab because of the plumbing that is involved and the casework. But yeah, we're going to go into all that detail.
And the slide that's going into that presentation with more detail, Max showed me the draft of that, and it's got a good schematic showing you all the different areas, and it's a pretty large space, and it also breaks down some of the costs and the contingencies. The other thing which kind of reminded me that a huge consideration on your part, none of these are final prices, and they're the best estimate right now. But the key is that this would be what would be going into the election order to ask the voters to approve up to that amount in a bond. The hope and goal would be that we wouldn't spend that much, you know, that as we go through the Bond Oversight Committee and bring them back to the board, eventually y'all will all vote on the final prices for each of the projects. And the hope is there would be savings. I know the big difference between 13 million and 20, and it's not going to go back down to 13, but just to kind of give you an idea that the prices on here would be this is the maximum that the voters basically are allowing us to authorize for the different propositions. And so the goal and hope would be that we wouldn't get to that full amount.
Ms. Petrie?
Yes.
And keeping in mind that this is an overview of our bond, we are getting a detailed presentation with the breakdown. We'll get that, and we'll be able to study that over the weekend. Ms. Petrie?
Yes, and I'm going to save my more detailed questions for our special meeting. On the science lab specifically, I have some concerns about sort of the budget increase similar to what we had with the Hayes baseball, softball. Mr. Savoy will remember this. It was a last-minute ad. I was not on the board, but I attended those meetings, and it was a last-minute ad, and the budget went up and up and up and up and up. And there was, because it maybe was rushed at the end, it felt like maybe there wasn't enough time to really get an honest assessment. So I'm actually glad that it's gone up, because that's probably more realistic.
Yes, and I think the difference was in that case the budget went up after the bond was called and the election occurred. So which was too late to add any more money to. That's why I think that the good thing is that though this is a late add, it does a couple of things that, you know, it shows that obviously this is a fluid process, and we certainly want to honor what the committee members wanted to add, and they ranked it fairly high too. But it's getting the higher price in there based on the actual cost of the Dahlstrom Science Lab renovation per square foot. In recalculating that's how it turned out to be the 20 million. So I think that is going to be the cap of what we'd be looking at.
Well, and you're going to have a detailed presentation about this, I hope, because my son is a chemistry student at Hayes High School. I understand the issues there, but I also know the population's going to go down over the next couple of years, and it may be that we have the opportunity to do the whole wing or something. And so,
17 of them, I think, isn't it?
is that what it is?
And we're actually hedging that very thing that you just said.
Okay.
And capturing some space that's currently not science space to capture enough to make the 17 science labs that we need. So we're hedging that population is decreasing and capturing some non-science space to convert it to science space.